Scott here again on Flip That Script. And today I wanted to talk about communicating or confronting your toxic family members about their behavior. Doing this in the context of being the CEO of your own life and evaluating their position in your life. As CEO of your own life, you certainly should have a major say in regards to your relationships with other people, and this includes family members. In a previous video, when I was more focusing on educating viewers and listeners about narcissism and toxic behavior and so forth, I had mentioned that it's very common with toxic family members for them to try to use their title as a means and a justification for their behavior, and that you should feel obligated and committed and loyal to them just by virtue of the fact that you're related. Now, in asserting and wanting you to assert as well that you're the CEO of your own life, that certainly gives you reason to assert what you expect out of your relationships. Because with toxic, abusive family members, their behavior patterns are such that they want to have power over you, and they feel entitled to behave and speak to you and treat you as if they're entitled to do whatever they want, and for there to not be any kind of consequence, and that your commitment to them and your obligation to them rests just simply on their title as family. No one likes confrontations. What I can tell you is that in the letter that I sent to my father, it was a long, detailed letter. It's in the end of my autobiography, and it's several pages long. To me, that was kind of my closure, at least at the time, before I had decided that I was going to give him the trial reconnection period after a year. I'm sorry, my apologies. That was part of the letter, but I didn't even write it for 9 months out. So, certainly no matter what, if you do a sudden cutoff without warning on a certain level, I believe anyway, even with personality disorders, that somewhere deep down inside, they know that they've mistreated you. But the bottom line is, one way or another, you're going to have to communicate that you're unhappy with the relationship, because, well, how could you be? Some people do a detailed letter like I did, Some experts on this subject will actually say the simpler you keep it, the better. They talk about writing a quote-unquote spew letter that you write kind of for your own therapeutic purposes and to kind of get in touch with your own truth and to send them something short and simple. This relationship has been causing me a lot of distress for quite some time. I'm going to be taking X amount of time off in order to evaluate our relationship and to heal, and then put in some other parameters. If you're looking to send a strong message that things need to change if they want to maintain any kind of connection with you. So I kind of like this whole idea of viewing yourself as the CEO of your life, because you are literally evaluating and reconsidering their position in your life. The CEO of a company wouldn't just feel obligated to keep people in specific positions if their performance was subpar and they didn't seem equipped for the responsibility of the position. So kind of let that sink in, because this relates to how you really don't have an obligation to maintain a relationship which not only brings you no value in a lot of cases, but actually causes you a lot of heartache and distress and brings drama and chaos into your life. No one deserves to experience abuse. And if you're just getting to the point and you're awakening to acknowledge that you have been experiencing abuse, it's time to flip that script. And rather than the toxic family members always trying to make you feel like you're not good enough, the real truth of the matter is that maybe they're not good enough for you. Maybe constantly being put down and devalued and criticized and made to feel rejected and like you don't belong isn't something that you're going to keep chasing after, trying to change them or trying to be good enough for them or please them. So I think overall, whether you make it simple with some kind of communication, do it by any means you're most comfortable with. You might not want to do this in person or on the phone or even by email when they could reply back, and it might be hard to resist reading what they're saying and possibly being triggered by that, even though I'm also talking to you. But it takes work learning to not take it personally, because they have issues that make having a healthy relationship challenging. However, I think it's good for anybody in this situation to feel like they at least gave them a chance by making them aware with details or not with details. That can kind of be handled later on if you're going to get them to do counseling with you or something like that. Or if you're giving them a chance to reconnect at some point, you're going to want to communicate what you will or will not tolerate And I think it's good to maybe not make a decision that no contact is permanent, but not knowing your situation, maybe that is the case. What's important is that you do what's comfortable for you and know that you also have the right to change your mind. I talked about tightening boundaries and loosening them. Something that I put in my long detailed letter, besides my very legitimate grievances, is something, a very interesting concept, and very much resonates with me, and perhaps it would resonate with you, especially if you're kind of a spiritual person and you're struggling to kind of find deeper meanings in what you've experienced and where you're trying to go with your life. Her name's Melanie Tonia Evans. She has a very wonderful and what I found to be very inspiring video entitled "Should I Go No Contact with a Family Member?" And the way that she conceptualizes this is basically that you are letting them know that this is where you draw the line and you will no longer experience their abuse. But what she emphasizes is that you're giving them an opportunity to have a different kind of relationship with you, trying to give them an opportunity to step up to the plate and be better. However, the most important thing to understand is that you need to learn, very difficult lesson, to not be attached to whether or not they accept your invitation to have a different kind of relationship, but you are laying a very strong boundary and letting them know that you're either going to have a different kind of relationship with them in which you no longer tolerate abuse, but at the same time, it's their choice and not yours. Either way, you have finally empowered yourself to put it all back on them and be responsible for your own well-being, which is your birthright. Either way that it's going to work out in the long run, what's important is that you do what's best for you and for your own healing.